Alright, so I have opened up my main FLA, and my main FLA is connected. It has a linkage, has a document class that it's set up to this main.as. So far we said that we have our FLA and we have our main class. And we really didn't explain too much what actually that meant. And I wanted to just break it down just a bit, and I know that we're going to get a little bit more into details with this as we go on. But the main point here right now that we want to make a connection between is saying actually when we link between our main and our main FLA and our main AS, we're actually saying that our main AS is actually going to create our movie. What does that mean? So basically whatever we have inside of here will actually get created into our FLA, and because this is the document class, and we're going to see exactly in a second how that actually works. Now we're going to look into classes and how we define them, and this is a perfect example of a definition of a class. But we're going to look into what classes mean later on as we build our own independent classes. But right now we're assuming that we have only one class, which is our main class, and that main class encapsulates everything. So for example, if I just go back into our main, and if I just even throw inside of here a trace, alright? And if I put inside of here a trace and I say this, and what does this mean? This, as the name probably implies, is itself. We're just asking to trace whatever we are, or wherever we are, more accurately. So if I save that file and I just run it, we're going to see that our trace command is going to output something interesting. So it's telling us that our output is our main, which kind of makes sense, right? Because we have our object and it's our main. Now, to make things a little bit more interesting, there's another property in Flash that's available only to visual display objects that are actually on the stage. And our main is on the stage. It's automatically put onto the stage. If we trace out to see what is our root, and we're going to just trace out the word root. And the root basically says bring us the root, the beginning, the definition, or in other words, maybe the document class. Give us the base structure of the visual elements. And we're going to see later on how we add more elements, and we're going to see something interesting. Our root is actually our this inside of the main. What does that tell us? It tells us that basically our basic movie clip, our first visual element on the stage is our root, or our this, or our main in this scenario. Well, this is a dynamic word, right? Because if we would be in a different place, which we don't know how to create yet, this would be something else. So we see that there's this interesting relationship, and I just wanted to add a third item, and we're going to get back to these elements a little bit later in the course. And I just want to trace out the stage. And what is the stage? The stage is actually the parent of the root, which is a little bit confusing and a little bit different than earlier versions of Flash. But basically the stage is the definition before our definition even. It's the mother of all mothers. Well, our main is our root. It's a beginning, but above the root there is a stage. And how do I know above the root there is a stage? I'm going to introduce to you another property. So first we see that our stage is, we have access to the stage. And now one more trace. And don't worry if this is not 100% sinking in, because we're going to revisit all of these concepts of this root, stage, and one last item throughout this course, as we learn how to build objects, which is really close right now, how we create our visual objects on the stage. So if I just trace out parent, which is our fourth parameter that we wanted to learn about, and parent is a property of a movie clip. Every movie clip, every display object has a parent. Or not. In our scenario, well, everyone has a property of parent, but that doesn't mean they have a parent. To have a parent and actually really have a parent, you have to have a parent. It means you have to be on the stage. If you're on the stage, you have a parent. Only exception to that rule is the stage, right? The stage doesn't have a parent. The stage is the father or mother of all ancestors, while the root is the first child of the stage. Okay? So if I trace out parent, what do you think will come out? Because where are we right now when I'm asking for parent? We're inside of this. Even if I don't say the explicit word this, because the parent property belongs to the main, which is our root. So I'm basically asking what is the parent of the root. And just from the talk that we just had right now, I hope you could get to that assumption that our parent would be the I hope that was right, but the answer is the stage. Alright, so if I ask for the... Oh, I need to save it, as always. I always don't save. And if I save it and I print it out, bam. We're getting our stage. Now, obviously, this is a hard-coded value, root, and the stage is a hard-coded value. Well, this and parent change depending on where we are. Alright? And don't worry if this is a little bit vague, as long as you get the idea that there's a relationship, there's a hierarchy where visual elements have parents and they might have children. And the next step we're actually going to do right now, we're going to create a few new children to our root, in our scenario, our main. Okay? So in the next few videos, we're going to start practicing adding children. But we're going to get back to the idea of everything that's a display object could have a parent, unless it's a stage, which the stage can't have a parent because that's it, it's the stage.